regular bread, so you've got gluten in it.
Yes.
So we start the animation, you take the food down, and all the process is pretty regularly. It goes down through the esophagus, past the lungs, into the stomach, and then it gets into the small intestine. The small intestine has a very complex architecture on the surface, sort of like a coral reef. And these little fronds go up and they go back and forth, and the green little droplets of the nutrients trying to get into your body.
Yes.
If you have celiac disease, you make antibodies, you kill off those fronds. So instead of those villi, that's what they're called, waving back and forth and increasing the absorptive surface, they become these little nubbins. So the nutrients bounce off your intestinal wall. You can't absorb them, so you actually get malnourished. Although you're eating just fine, you're not pulling things through into your own body. Now, I'd like to show everybody what I'm talking about with a real organ.
Okay.
Do you want to play with me?
Sure.
Okay, so let's walk on over here. You're going to have to put the gloves on to play.
Okay.
So, and so, what do you think's in here, by the way?
You know, Dr. Oz, I never know with you. I'm not sure.
All right, let's take a look. Nope. Nope, it's intestines. Who would have thought?
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm so happy you're here. All right, so let's orient everybody real quickly. Head's up here, the tail's down here, and this is the esophagus. I showed that on the animation. Food goes through the stomach and everywhere else. Now, I want to focus on this little area of intestinal tract. So, Elizabeth, hold that for a second, if you don't mind. And just show it to everybody. So just spread it out. So you see the folds that are there?
Yeah.
Elizabeth's holding the first part of the small intestine. It's actually where most of the absorptive surface is. I'm going to pick an area down here at the very bottom of the small intestine. By the way, it's rolled like this in your intestinal system. You've got about 26 feet of tubing here. Now look at the inside here. Notice the difference? So you need to have this absorptive, rich surface on the top part of your intestinal system in order to be able to absorb the nutrients. Let me put them next to each other so everyone can see them.
Okay.
You all appreciate that? Pretty clear? Am I holding it up? Right.
Yeah.
Now, and so when we look inside your intestinal system, one of the things we need to be able to do is to tease out whether or not you've got that absorptive surface and still there. And one of the most important ways that we get clues to look, because we don't normally look at people's small intestines, is through your symptoms. So you describe bloating and diarrhea, in which, again, a lot of folks have digestive issues and they talk about them. But I want to give you the big list of all the other reasons you may be coming to us for medical attention. So the second is fatigue. A lot of people have that. Bone and joint pain, again, happens. Did you have that?
I did have that.
Mood changes, by the way, go along with it. Tingling in your fingers and your feet. I don't know if you had that as well. And there's one more I want to show everybody called dermatitis herpetiformis, which is a big word. Forget about that. Just remember what it looks like, which is this. If you see that kind of a rash on your body, I want you to think to yourself, I may have a problem with celiac disease. Now, to help me talk about it, I wanted to bring one of the world experts into this discussion. Dr. Peter Green, who is Elizabeth's doctor, but also is the director of the Celiac Disease Center at Columbia University at New York Presbyterian Hospital. And he's with us in the audience today. Peter, how are you?
Good, Mehmet.
Let's talk a little bit about celiac disease. The condition itself is very serious in that it really does invoke an autoimmune reaction. So talk to me a little bit about the complications of celiac disease.
They're multiple. They range from increased rate of malignancies, especially lymphoma, and this non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is increasing in this country, and we really don't know why. There's increased malignancies, increased autoimmune diseases, and just general ill health, osteoporosis, anemia, infertility. We see people who are infertile, they get a diagnosis of celiac disease, they're about to go into some IVF program, we say, wait a year, and they often get pregnant.
That was me. 3 kids later, let me tell you.
It works.
Gluten-free and mommy, that's what I was saying.
So the manifestations are multiple, and that's one of the problems, that people are going to different doctors. They're going to neurologists because of this tingling that you're talking about. They're getting their bone density assessed by their gynecologist and get put on some medication, and no one asks the question of why does this young person have osteoporosis.
So if we ask that question, hopefully a lot of you out there watching are going to ask this exact question, then the response should be, I need a blood test. And so I know that there's a blood test for celiac disease, but I also know sometimes it can be negative. What do you do then?
That's right. Well, the blood test is often suggestive, sometimes diagnostic, and people then get referred for a biopsy. But sometimes the blood tests are negative. Sometimes people have positive blood tests and don't actually have celiac disease. They often fit into this group of people with a gluten sensitivity.
Right. And so across the board, no matter what, this is a population we address with restricting the amount of gluten they get in their diet, whether it's gluten sensitivity or celiac disease.
People will get better when they restrict this from their diet.
Right. So how hard is it to live gluten-free if you've got celiac disease?
Well, first of all, if you have symptoms of celiac disease and then you begin eating gluten-free and you begin to feel better, it's certainly easy because you don't want to turn back and feel that way. You know, and I think that young kids, teenagers typically will have a more difficult time socially, and that's again why in the book I wanted to give tactics on how to live socially, how to order in a restaurant, how to not make it the entire topic of dinner at every holiday party, how to be at a wedding and not feel sick when you're there, or be out with your friends at the movies. I wanted to be able to let people know that this is easy. You just take the steps necessary, and really, as I said before, a lot of work needs to be done medically in terms of funding for research.
When we come back, I'm going to ask Elizabeth to reveal to you her G-free diet plan. And even if you're not gluten intolerant, she argues, and I think she's right, it could help you shed the pounds. That's next.
Up next, the shocking hidden danger foods you'd never expect.
I thought gluten was a type of pudding. I had no idea what it was.
Elizabeth has the answers.
These are hidden sources that tripped me up at first, so I just want to help you out a bit.
What to avoid and what not to worry about.
I'm glad that wine is gluten-free.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's next. And later,
I thought I was the only person with one of these.
she made a list and put herself first. A weight loss success story you won't believe.
Get ready for an exciting change. Introducing the new Lux range. Experience the fragrance, radiance, and softness like never before. New Lux range. Declare your beauty.
My 1-year-old and his best friend are always exploring the world together. This exposes my little one to dirt and germs. Because this is part of his learning process, I encourage him, but I want to provide him with the right protection, and that is why I give him Nestle Nido One Plus. Because of its unique blend of probiotics, prebiotics, as well as a balanced combination of vitamins and minerals that help support my child's immunity and growth, I choose the right specialized growing up formula for my child's age, Nido One Plus.
New Close-Up Fire Freeze. Warm gel helps fight odor-causing germs. Cool gel cools your mouth for ultimate long-lasting freshness. Fresh just got fresher with new Close-Up Fire Freeze.
رياليتي لصور طبيعية حقيقية، انترنت وتقنية 3D، تلفزيون انترنت الجديد من سوني، الصيغة الجديدة للتلفزيون.
أغير الموجة واسمع كلامه، خليك بالجو ما هو دراما، أحلى يوم مع أحلى أغاني، أكيد أتكلم عن بانوراما. قلبي حبه وبيسمع لا دايم ليل نهار. خلي يومك يحلى يلا غني بالمشوار. بالجو خليك خليك بالجو بالجو خليك خليك بالجو سوا يلا نغني بانوراما.
بانوراما خليك بالجو.
Welcome back. Elizabeth Hasselbeck is adjusting to life with celiac disease and about to reveal her G-free diet. But I want all of you to pay attention because even if you don't suffer gluten intolerance, she says it could help you lose weight. I know that'll get your attention. But first, I want you to meet a woman who's just begun Elizabeth's journey. Take a look at Amy's story.
Dear Dr. Oz, about 10 years ago, I had what I thought was the flu. Something wasn't right with my stomach for weeks after, so I knew it couldn't just be the flu. My gastroenterologist told me I had a mild case of irritable bowel syndrome. I had a number of flare-ups between then and now, And each time my doctor told me it was either IBS or a virus. He never ran a single test. Recently, I went to a new doctor and she noticed that my tongue was shiny. She ran tests and discovered I was anemic and deficient in magnesium and zinc. She then tested me for celiac disease. I had no idea what that was, but it turns out that's what I had all along. My doctor told me the only treatment is a strict gluten-free diet. I didn't even know what gluten was. Dr. Oz, I'm confused, overwhelmed, and looking for guidance. What's safe to eat, and what do I need to stay away from?
Amy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
It's a pretty scary diagnosis.
It is.
And how did you feel when you first made it? First figured it out?
Overwhelmed. I thought gluten was a type of pudding. I had no idea what it was.
You're going to be okay.
All right, so Elizabeth's got a lot of insights about how to live with this. I'm going to have them share them with you and everybody else out there. Again, whether you're going to lose weight or whether you've got gluten intolerance, this is worth paying attention to. So let's start off with the table with all the tricks,
Yes.
the hidden foods of glutens.
Yeah, and there are many hidden sources of gluten, Amy. So you got to take a deep breath. I think there is a little bit of a learning curve right away. So I try to outline in the book a way to kind of ease you into the system of G-free living. You have your old school pasta here, so it's wheat pasta, which it's going to hurt you. You don't want that to do damage to your intestines. So you're going to make some switches. Barley, contaminated oats, wheat, and rye. Those are things that you're going to want to avoid. Now look, if everything were this simple and labeled like it is in those little tubs at the grocery store, your life would be incredibly easy, right?
Sure.
It's not. So
I just want to point something out. The amount that you can eat to get sick is 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's that much.
right.
Can you see that, everybody?
Yeah, Dr. Green actually told me that.
I mean, look at this. It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
You can count that many kernels.
And over the course of a day, this is one mistake I think, people with celiac disease, myself, I've made over the course of time, saying, well, it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit here, a little bit there. It doesn't take a whole lot, like you just pointed out, Dr. Oz, to fill that 1/8 of a teaspoon, to do incredible damage when you're going to lead a life headed toward, cancers, malignancies, God knows what. But these are hidden sources that tripped me up at first, so I just want to help you out a bit. Like blue cheese, that's a no. From now on. Any sort of bacon bits, and you also want to watch some deli meats too will contain gluten as additives. I would go to the movies with Tim on dates, and I thought, wow, this man is either making me sick or the movie theater is making me sick. Thankfully, neither.
Could be both.
Right, could be both. I was eating licorice brands that actually contain wheat in them, but they just didn't look like they would harm me. So I kept eating them and didn't understand why. You want to make sure your coffee's in a pure form. Instant coffee is also a hidden source of gluten, so you want to be careful there. Beer. Okay, so most brands, you're not going to be able to have the beer, barley, oats, hops in there. But there are brands like Redbridge that are gluten-free, and some smaller breweries actually do a gluten-free beer, which is good news. Dressings you want to watch out for. I find you can actually turn to like an Amy's or Annie's for gluten-free options. Peanut butter jar I put here. Now peanut butter is not necessarily something that would contain gluten, but it's an area in your house that becomes contaminated. Butter sticks, okay? I want you to think peanut butter, jelly jars. These are areas that over time, open it up at home, what's in there? You find crumbs. You've got like waffle crumbs and bread crumbs, something from a sandwich. So you want to clearly label the jars in your house so that someone knows, okay, I'm not going to double dip in there. That's going to be just yours. That's going to be Amy's peanut butter right there.
Got it.
Another source, and I tell this mostly to parents of kids with celiac, is if you're giving like love and kisses, or say your boyfriend, your husband, your spouse, your makeup, you want to make sure that what you're having on your lips and closest to your body is gluten-free, including one area that I want people to be careful of is lotion right by the sink. So you have your soap, and most people would then put lotion on their hands, and then they go, make a salad, make a sandwich. You want to be careful of that because a lot of the times the wheat protein is involved there.
I like the fact that it's a little bit of a nudge because a lot of these things are very subtle. Now, so these are things that we know might have gluten in them. Let's not go over to the happy land over here, far away, far removed from toxic, the G-free diet items. How do you actually make that happen? Let's follow over here.
Okay, so I think a great place to start is with a brand that's pure and has a clean facility in terms of production. Glutino is one. You can get your bread there to start.
Well, why'd you put the soap here?
Soap is a big deal. I am someone that believes, my mom mom has always said, better to be safe than sorry. And I think that I put that there as a reminder that there are mainstream brands out there that are providing products without, say, that wheat protein in it or gluten that will end up contaminating your system and harming your body. So you want to take these precautions. Glutino, again, has great little snacks like chocolate covers. Amy soups, that's an easy one for you to remember. Stock up on those. They're gluten-free, you know, like a good split pea soup every now and then. A noodle soup that they have that's G-free is great. Again, coffee in its purest form. Green tea, Dr. Oz, you're a big fan, right?
Green teas, they don't have to add a lot of stuff to it. It's pretty simple. And by the way, these are the grains that you're allowed to eat, right? Which is important for people to recognize. There's a lot of things. So you've got rice. Is that quinoa?
This is quinoa, yes. Yeah. I like to do quinoa over a salad even to make sure that I'm getting the fiber, the magnesium, the protein. It has more protein than your wheat bread will. It's a great,
and this is a whole meal with corn.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing too. You don't have to always have like your separate little meal. You can do a G-free pasta. All the pasta in our house now is gluten-free. It actually provides more nutrients to the body. Dr. Oz, you mentioned before about weight loss. You know, I want to make sure that people know this isn't a program you get on and you get skinny. When you are celiac, you begin to eat gluten-free, your body then just begins to absorb and feel more energy so that you can live that healthy lifestyle. So this is a powerful way to eat. I wouldn't give it to my kids if I didn't think so. I'd just keep it to myself. I know that it works and does wonders for the body. And Dr. Peter Green has held my hand the whole way through, and I'm so thankful to him. Dr. Oz, you are without a doubt a huge supporter. And
greatly honored.
You know, I think it's a great thing that you were diagnosed.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
Which of these do you think might make sense? Which ones don't you think are very easy to implement?
Well, I'm glad that wine is gluten-free.
Oh, yeah, totally. Let me tell you.
We missed that.
I am too, Amy. As am I.
Amy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Peter Green, colleague, is a fantastic expert in the area. Thank you very much. And Elizabeth Hasselbeck, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr.
Now, everybody, got a surprise for you. Everybody today in the audience is getting a copy of her book, The G-Free Diet. It's a good read. We'll be right back. Thank you very much.
Coming up, a wife and mother who put everyone else's needs ahead of her own and put her life in danger.